Okay, last game up on the board here, and it's actually quite interesting. I wasn't sure what to do. I'm still not sure what to do, but thoughts going through my mind was minions, of course, first of all. Can we get a kind of minion stack going? Yeah, probably you could, but there's no help for it. There's nothing else that really goes with it. Artificer might go with it, but you don't really have too many cards when you discard with minion. You only draw four, so Artificer can discard at most four. And what do you gain with four? A lighthouse? How many lighthouses do you want? Not that many. So it seems kind of dry to just go with the minion thing. Alternatively, I saw Tactician and Artificer. I like Artificer a lot, so kind of leaning towards that. There is some kind of deck where you play a Tactician, Artificer discards 8 cards, gain province, and you play another Tactician and do that, well, hopefully up to 8 times. So I was kind of angling for some kind of deck with that, Tactician and Artificer, and just see how things go from there. There's no plus action on the board except in Tactician also. So that's something to take note of. So I opened Warehouse Silver looking for 5 for Artificer early. My opponent opens with the Navigator and a Warehouse. Doesn't get to 5 this turn, that's bad. That's pretty bad. I have like quite good draws. Get 5, turns 3 and 4, get the trigger, shuffle with the Warehouse. The Navigator, I understand why you buy it with Tactician around on the board. It could help you find your Tactician and line up double Tactician, but because the action space was so tight, there's only room for 2 actions, really. I didn't want to use one of that for the Navigator. I mean, eventually I could trash it with the Graverobber, but then what am I trashing it into? Nothing particularly attractive, perhaps a minion or something. So, anyways, I was able to buy a Tactician after my Artificer, and then I am going to discard with the Artificer here to pick up a minion. So I realized that, well, the Artificer Tactician thing alone isn't really going to cut it, so I decided to go after the minions. In the meantime, my opponent is not having good draws at all. These warehouses are not putting in nearly enough work for him as they should be. It even prompts him to buy another silver here. So minion followed by a tactician gets me a lighthouse here. So lighthouse is to defend against minion attacks. So the minion attack makes your artificer a little bit worse, which is why I wanted the lighthouse. Also in combination with a double tactician style deck, the lighthouse is okay. You know, it's money that you could put into play before having to discard with your tactician. So there is that, right? So I have enough for a couple 5s here, and I think I could go ahead and buy another tactician, especially with the artificer in my deck. I'll definitely be able to get something decent provided I draw the artificer on the tactician turn. I'm not worried about that happening though. I have a warehouse to help me out, plus the massive draw from the tactician. Considering a journeyman here to draw a few extra cards, but I think I settle on the minion. I don't really need to draw cards right now. I am drawing nearly everything, or at least being able to see all the important things most of the time. So we both have 2 tacticians now. My opponent is also going for the double tactician. I think he has an artificer in his deck, but no minion right now. He does have the navigator, which is, well, a navigator, but we'll see what he comes up with here. Another idea on the board here is capital, right? So perhaps you could go for some kind of money deck with tactician and capital, like tactician, journeyman, capital, and you could potentially like easily get to double province turns with that. You could stick a Graverobber in that deck if you want to try to turn your journeyman into a province at some point. As another idea I had to go with the capital thing. So like you would buy double province, hopefully like pay off your debt before you play your tactician again, and then you can get double province once more. That's how I foresee these things going. I don't know why I discarded the lighthouse there. That's just like not smart for reasons I discarded that lighthouse. I think it was because I already played a lighthouse that turn and I wanted to have them rotating, so I was always defended. I wouldn't be stuck on a turn where I didn't have a lighthouse in play. I don't know, I kind of OCD. Not actually, but I like to see duration cards symmetrical. And sometimes, like, if you have to play two lighthouses, then play the thing. You know, don't worry about making the game beautiful. You have to do what you have to do sometimes. So, anyways, that's just a little thing from me. So I finally managed to see my Artificer and my Tactician turn here, and I am going to proceed just to gain lots and lots of minions, because as I found out, what you can end up doing here is something like this. So you could stick a couple minions in play, a few minions in play, and then discard with the last one. Go look for your Tactician, and then play the Tactician. I don't think I will go look for my Tactician here, just because it means all my good cards must be shuffled. That is what I'm considering here, whether or not to discard. I do go for it, and actually I rightly realized that minion draws only 4 cards instead of 5, so I would not be triggering the shuffle. So it was completely safe there to discard with that minion, manage to get my Lighthouse in play, as well as play another Tactician. So we are looking good. I don't think my opponent has any minions right now. 0 minions. I have, well then if he has 0, I have 5, right? So hopefully we could get this thing going on with the double Tactician, Artificer, Minion. So, you know, I would draw a lot, Artificer would discard, gain a minion, I could play lots of minions, then discard, and then play Tactician. You know, we're looking at maybe $10, $12, $14 just on the board if I can get lots and lots of minions. I anticipate my opponent will not let me get lots and lots of minions, so we'll see. He not finally, but he plays his Tactician here, so we'll see what he comes up with on his turn. This is great that I have the minion here. I'm able to discard all that junk and go look for my Tactician, which I do find, but I do have to give up playing one of these minions if I wanted to fire next turn. Tactician requires an additional cost, if you like to think of it, to play, in that you must discard at least 1 card from your hand in order to get the benefits from Tactician. So had to get rid of the minion there, but playing it wouldn't have done me too much. I wouldn't have probably bought anything with the extra money anyway, so that's fine, just enough to pick up a minion. My opponent now starts, I think this is his second minion right now. So I feel very comfortable right now with the large amount of minions in my deck. I do not see the Artificer here, which is not so good, but I do see a ton of minions, and I'm very happy to just play those and then my Tactician, getting up to 11 and 2 buys. So Tactician is a source of plus buy. The only other one is Capital, right? And that has, I mean, you have to play with that, with the debt in mind from the Capital, that is, right? It's not just you get $6 for free and that's the end of that. Not the case at all, not the case. So all the minions are gone now, so I guess the next thing to do would be to go after the Artificers. You could just get more coins and play with your Tactician, right? Eventually, if you could get up to double province, that'll be real nice for you. And you, at that point, you would want to stick Graverobbers into your deck. However, my opponent pushes the game in a different direction by going for the province here. We have to think, I didn't want me to bid, I wanted him to bid and then me to decide, because bidding I find is very difficult. So I eventually decided on giving him a bid of 15 to get the 8 points, right? I felt like 14 or 15. I felt like it would take him at about 2 turns, if not 2 turns, 1.5 turns to clear off the debt, and in that time I could catch up on points. I do have more minions than him, which means I have more money, so it means that I can push the debt up a little bit more, right? So if I had less minions, I probably would have only felt comfortable taking like 10 or 11 debt, but because I have more money in the deck than he does via the minions, I can push the debt up, and I did push it to 14. He gives me 14 debt as well as the 8 points, so now I have to try to clear this debt, which I feel like I should be able to do, right? Quite easily. Like if I don't do it all this turn, I can do most of it this turn, get 12, and that's even while putting a Tactician in play. My last turn I had what, 11 and 2 buys and put down a Tactician, so 14 debt, really I could just get rid of most of that, I feel, on this turn itself. So I did buy a Journeyman at some point. At some point I missed when I bought the Journeyman, but I know I bought the Journeyman My Tactician is in these last three cards, which is unfortunate, and I'm not going to discard for it here because it means triggering a very, very bad shuffle. So, regrettably, I do have to not play my Tactician here. Had I been able to, like you see, I would have paid off 13 debt and put a Tactician in play. So that would have been like ideal for me, I think. But this way is okay too. I still see a couple minions and I have a lighthouse in play. Two lighthouses in play apparently. I broke the symmetry. Oh no, I should just resign now. As a joke, by the way. But yeah, I do have some money in play here and a Tactician. I know I was getting that for sure. So not the worst thing in the world, not the worst position in the world. I'll play my Tactician and hopefully reset the double Tactician chain. In the meantime, my opponent is going to have one of his Tactician turns. He picks up Province and Graverobber. So now things get a little more interesting. My opponent has perhaps the potential to triple Province, buy 2, gain 1 of the Graverobber. I don't think he could quite triple, but for sure he could double now. For sure he could double now. There's also Artificer, which has the ability to gain provinces off a Tactician turn. So a few things to keep in mind right now. I do pick up a Graverobber myself. So this is the right set of moves for my opponent, right? He has to push the game to finish more quickly. If he just lets me build up, I'll get more Artificers than him. I could get 3 Artificers a turn, and I don't think he could do that. He could get 2 Artificers a turn. So I'll just build and be in a better position than him if he lets the game go on any longer. So he does nothing on his turn except puts a Tactician down, but that probably means double province for him next turn. Probably means double province for him. So I get my Journeyman down first just to play, just to draw a lot of cards actually. I do trigger a shuffle here, which seems kinda bad, especially after I see all 7 minions plus my Tactician, but oh well. Oh well, it is done now. In fact, I thought that this was all my minions, and I'm wrong. There's 1 minion in that 9 cards, so then it's okay. It is okay to trigger the shuffle if you know there's a minion in there. An alternative play for me there was to not play Tactician, but then that means I would have to suffer through probably 2 bad shuffles, and I wasn't about that. So play the Tactician, take your single province, move on, right? Actually, province and Graverobber. So I have a couple Graverobbers now and a couple actions to play them. So if things go nicely, I can get 3 provinces, use Graverobber to gain 2, and buy 1, maybe even be able to buy 2. The Journeyman also serves as a Graverobber target in my deck right now. That's another reason why I bought it. So it could get me some draw during the middle of the game, and at the very end of the game, it can serve as delicious, nutritious Graverobber food for a province. So a couple provinces for my opponent. One of his Graverobber, he trashes his Tactician at this point, which is okay. He's only playing 1 anyway. He's not really doing any double Tactician shenanigans, and he buys 1, as well as another silver. The silver is okay. I mean, there's few of them in the pile, you just have to keep in mind, right? So maybe they might be worth something at some point if the game had infinite turns. So I decide to go for the win here. This is not good, not clean play from me, because I wasn't sure. I had to have the cards come up in a very specific order for me to get 3 provinces, and I don't know, I just decided to go for it. Maybe because I was fed up, maybe because I wasn't happy with how I played this game in general. Like, I wasn't really sure what to do. I just ended up stumbling through some minions, and it ended up working out. But as does this last turn here, right? I'm able to find the second Graverobber with a target and buy the last. So that's the game. Thanks for watching.